Mate, great fucking chapter that was. That was so good, bro. There's no way that's the end. Holy fucking shit, lads. That video was a great fucking success, man. Thank you all for the great fucking feedback. I've seen it and I loved it, and I'm gonna give you a kiss. Mwah. Alright, now that I'm done sucking your cocks, let's actually get into the main video. Sour Apple has dropped more chapters, and I was too lazy to read them in the previous video. I'll just read the new panels that came out, and I'll also analyze the new game she uploaded. Enough said, let's get right into it. In the first chapter of Book 2 of Horta, we get a quick summary of what has happened before Aliza came into the picture, and how Frisk ultimately ruined the lives of the monsters in the underground. I already said this before, but the neutral ending isn't a good ending. I would say it's closest to the worst ending you have in the game, and that's the genocide ending. It's up there. The panel starts with this. Frisk didn't have the will to kill Asgore when they battled. They didn't have the will to kill Godflower either, but did they hesitate before finally choosing to spare him? Who knows? Frisk ultimately chose to leave the big players alone before they left the underground, but for some reason, the other monsters they fought along the way were randomly killed. Toriel was banished to the ruins after the human escaped, and Undyne made herself the new empress, ruling with fierce loyalty of the royal guard by her side. All monsters were in favor for revenge. The new panel, we see Toriel, and it says Toriel has lost most of her eyesight, yet her night vision is strong despite years of entrapment. But more importantly, she couldn't see what sort of human you really... Hey, Flowey says, am I boring you? You say you wanted a story. Aliza reminds Flowey that she already lived through that story, and she doesn't want to live it again. And Flowey says, but this is important. You still want to get out of here, right? You have to know a little monster history. And for some reason, he's pushing her toes. I was there, you know, for all of it. I saw it. Flowey says, so you want a few favors down here. Big deal. The power is still out, dummy. You're gonna look like food again sooner or later. Aliza reminds Flowey that Toriel is on her way to Snowdin to think of a solution. But Flowey then says, oh sure, let's see what a half-blind goat lady can do. Aliza then gets tired of Flowey's remarks and says, I'm a 12-year-old girl. Look at what I did. This is massive character development for Aliza, since in the first chapter of the entire series, she was a shy and introverted girl, but now she actually speaks back to people whenever she wants to. In the next panel, Aliza realizes that she shouldn't really get mad at Flowey. Flowey says, fine, whatever. Aliza thinks in her mind that Flowey has proven more than once how much she truly relies on him, so Aliza at least owes him a little friendship. When she fell all this way, all that time ago, Flowey was the first monster that she encountered here, and the last one to help you out. Annoying? Yes. Condescending? Yes. Downright mean? Very much so. Flowey says, are you listening? I get the feeling that you're not listening. Not much smarter than those kids up there, are you, idiot? As Aliza and Flowey walk through the ruins, she thinks, but he's Flowey the flower. He's your best friend. He joins you as you walk to Snowdin. So you think it's gonna be good news, huh? In the next panel, Aliza thinks so. She does think that it is gonna be good news, and she thinks that Toriel is genuinely thinking of something. In the next panel, as Aliza walks, Flowey reminds her what this place has put her through. Getting drugged by Toriel, being forced to solve deadly puzzles, the feeling of being cooked alive, Sans ripping her arm off, the murderous ruler, and the oven. The next panel, Flowey pats her head and says, smart girl like you, I thought you've learned from all that. Aliza also reminds Flowey of a couple of things, like the time that she gave Toriel a hug. She also remembered the way the monsters looked at you as you stood up to their queen. Aliza also remembered the ketchup bottle that she gave to Sans. Flowey cuts her off and says, okay fine Teresa, but you can't believe this goody two-shoes attitude of yours is gonna last down here. The monsters are gonna go hungry again, and the reserves will run out. And then the next panel, Flowey says, you will be finished. This is interesting because I believe that Aliza has this optimistic mindset about the monsters. She really takes the welcome to the monster family thing for granted, but Flowey, in the other hand, has this mindset of Aliza being a spare snack for them if they go hungry. Aliza sees the monsters as a family, equal to people, but Flowey sees the monsters as just simply monsters. Toriel is walking through the very cold snow. As she walks through Snowdin, she visits Papyrus' house. She knocks on the door, and Papyrus slowly creaks open the door. Papyrus says, oh, and Toriel softly responds with, dear Papyrus, you look well, I presume. Is your brother home? There's something I'd like to discuss with you both. The next panel begins with Papyrus saying, Sans is not here. I believe he is down in the basement. I'll go fetch him. Toriel is confused and she wonders why the hell would he be in the basement. Toriel asks, are you alright? You sound a little woozy. Papyrus says, I was attacked by the human. Toriel says, she bested you as well, did she? Papyrus says, it was my punishment for doing something monstrous to her. Toriel says, oh, okay. Well, that can't be helped by the likes of us. Papyrus says, yes, all has been forgiven, but I still prefer not to think about it. Toriel says, what What is it? Aren't you going to open it? Papyrus says, it's just amazing to see you after so long. Are you considering to rule the queen like before? But mid-sentence, Toriel says, heavens no. She says, the child has awakened something in me I thought I'd lost long ago, but the queen in me remains dead. Papyrus says, we are in desperate need of a real ruler. As Papyrus knocks on the door, they enter the basement. As both enter the basement, Papyrus says, he will be happy to see you, Toriel. The human has rekindled something that was lost in him too. Toriel says, is that so? Papyrus says, Sans, I bring you a very special guest. But Papyrus is shocked at what he sees and Sans is doing something. He's using a contraption on the human arm. He snaps the bone in half and he rips the flesh off. Toriel fainted as she couldn't stand the gory sight. Papyrus yells, damn it Sans, why are you always doing something weird down here? Papyrus makes her a meal and says, my apologies for that, your Toriel. We are sadly low in supply, so please enjoy the little that we have to share. Toriel says, I hope you can brace yourself for this. I have something serious to tell you. Are you ready? Papyrus says, I'm ready. Toriel then says, I wish to kill the human. What the fuck, bro? What? Toriel says, if you don't, Undyne will eventually discover who Aliza really is. She will harvest her soul, the barrier will break, and a violent war against humans will repeat. Pointless genocide waits for us on the surface. Papyrus, and our taste for humans and flesh won't help. This is why you killed so many children, no? It's not just for the town's survival, is it? Papyrus is sitting in silence. Papyrus says, the girl has shown surprising amounts of compassion. Toriel says, I'm sorry Papyrus, I know you two have grown close, but the child will die at the end of this venture. I can see it. Papyrus is startled and he says, well, this is news indeed. Toriel says, I prepared a poisoned meal for the girl, but then I remember you and your wonderfully creative puzzles. Perhaps you would build one more puzzle for her? Papyrus is sweating as he doesn't like the idea. He says, well, this is a bit sudden. Perhaps I should do it after all, Toriel says. Papyrus says, no, don't worry, I'll take care of it. I'll design a new puzzle, alright? Toriel says, alright, and do it quickly. It is vital that we don't let Undyne discover who she really is. And Aliza heard all this and she's crying alone. Aliza is heartbroken at the fact that the monsters that she considers family is planning on killing her. As Aliza is facing heartbreak, Flowey says, see? They don't care. They just wanna... And mid-sentence, Aliza cuts her off and she shouts, shut up. Leave me alone and shut up. Flowey is surprised at Aliza crashing out on her and he leaves, says, well, fine then. As Papyrus closes the door, letting Toriel leave, he sighs. Papyrus enters the basement again and he tells Sans, stop whatever you're doing. I must talk to you upstairs. This is a lot to unpack. Holy shit. Let's start. Toriel, the mother figure to Aliza, is planning on killing her due to the reason that she doesn't want Undyne to find out that Aliza is human. I mean, if Undyne finds out that she is human, she'll kill her and use the soul to break the barrier between the monsters and the humans to start a genocide. We see some major development with Papyrus. He's concerned for Aliza and he's actually the one clearly visibly upset about this news. Bear in mind, Papyrus had one human friend and that is Frisk. And Papyrus never really had a good connection after that. A good chemistry with anyone other than Frisk. Aliza is finally able to fill that hole that Frisk left in Papyrus. This kind of makes me like Horatel Papyrus more because it shows that he truly cares for Aliza and he's deprived of this good feeling that he had with Frisk. It's almost like Frisk left a massive hole in his heart and Aliza was the right person to fill that hole. Her kindness truly stood out from the most of the other humans. Sans, on the other hand, doesn't really care that Aliza is part of the monster family. He's just doing weird things with a human arm. I like to think that that is Aliza's arm. I mean, where else would he get the arm, right? But there's nothing to suggest that other than the purple color, but that's really it. I would like to think that Sans is performing experiments with the human's hand. I mean, why else would he just use fancy gadgets to cut the arms off? He's clearly capable of doing it with his own hands. The question is, what would the experiment be and why? Toriel, in the other hand, is a strange character because in the very first chapters of Horatel, she's very protective of Aliza and she doesn't want her to leave the ruins because she will die. Yet she wants to kill her to stop Undyne from breaking the barrier. The issue is, why didn't she do this earlier? She literally poisoned Aliza and drugged her. So if she had the foreknowledge that Undyne wanted to break the barrier, why didn't she just kill Aliza back then? My little theory is that she didn't expect Aliza to leave and when she realized that she left, the major implications then hit her. Basically, what I'm trying to say is that she didn't expect Aliza to actually leave, and when she left, Toriel realized that there will be dire consequences. This kind of reminds me of the scene in Sopranos when Tony Soprano found out that her mother was the one who wanted him dead, and everything around him went blurry. His world crumbled. I think that's the same with Aliza. Her world, her optimistic perception of being accepted in the family is shattered. Aliza is Tony Soprano. No? Okay, I'll just shut up. As Toriel enters the ruins, she says, Aliza, are you there, darling? As she walks through the ruins, she calls out Aliza's name. My child, where are you, honey? She even searches at the bedroom and she says, Aliza, where are you? The next panel, we cut to Sans and Papyrus speaking. Papyrus says, I know this sounds bad, but there's really no need to worry. I will go to Undyne myself tonight and fix this whole thing. Sans says, no way. Nobody's explaining anything to anyone. Papyrus says, but it's not fair. I'm sure I can explain. But Sans cuts him off and says, no, it's too dangerous. Case closed. Papyrus objects objects, saying, so you would rather stay put and do nothing? How surprising. Sans replies with, Papyrus, let me tell you something. The one good thing this town's got going for itself is a messed up sense of community, okay? People around here would rather eat human children instead of one another, and I admire that. But that changes the second you walk out of here. Waterfall's a swamp and a hotland's a hellhouse. And the lab, you know how I feel about that place. Undyne's temper isn't the worst of it, and her temper sucks. It sucks big time. Papyrus is silent. Papyrus says, so what do we do, Sans? Do we kill the little girl? Do we force her into hiding? Or perhaps silencing Toriel is the morally acceptable solution? As Papyrus challenged Sans' morality, he sighs. Sans says, I really hoped I had all this sacrificing shit behind me. Sans says, okay, I'm heading out to Tori's. Maybe I can figure this out. Papyrus says, I don't enjoy deceiving Undine like this. If we could just be honest with one another, like once we were as friends. Sans says, okay, yeah, maybe you're right. Let's reason with a woman who's ready to kill over a piece of candy. Sans left Papyrus speechless, and he knows that he got him there. Knocking is heard. Papyrus says, maybe I can talk some sense into this complete stranger. Sans says, just get rid of them. I have to go. As Papyrus opens the door, he gets startled. Papyrus says, Sans? And Sans says, Paps, I already told you, And mid-sentence, the guards barge in the room. The royal guards come in and they say, hey Pops, your daughter home? One of the royal guards say, interesting bit of news circling around Hotland about you. Any chance we get to see this pride and joy of yours? Queen wants her for dinner. Sans is getting agitated and he says, get the hell out of my house. The royal guards intensify their gaze and they ask, is it true? Are you a dad? Sans says, The guards say, the whole capital's buzzing. We're all trying to figure out how it happened. Sans replies with, well, I'm glad everybody's enjoying free entertainment on my behalf. The guards ask, so, is she real? Because some of the monsters believe this is another one of your dumb jokes. But if it is true, where is she? Papyrus says, guards, I can explain. The girl is not a... In mid-sentence, Sans says, at Tori's. The girl's with Tori in the ruins. Papyrus is confused. Sans says, the daughter, my daughter. Cause, it's all true. So, orders are orders. If you want her, go look for her there. In fact, my bro can vouch for me. He'll tell you that this isn't a joke, right, Paps? As Sans said that, the guard's gaze intensifies. After the long, awkward dialogue, the guards leave the house, and they say, you notice the wallpaper? As Papyrus watches them leave, he closes the door and says, why did you make me? And Sans disappeared. Papyrus is exhausted and says, of course he disappears when things get messy. In the cold, snowy day, Aliza is hiding behind a tree. Papyrus from afar in his house says the humans certainly made things more complicated, and that is the end of chapter 1. Papyrus and Sans argue about the moral issues they face. Papyrus is clear advocate for sparing Aliza and it's wrong to kill her, but Papyrus also thinks that it's wrong to lie to Undyne and they should reason with her. But Sans shuts it down instantly by reminding Papyrus about the candy incident. This reminds me of Aliza and Flowey's dynamic. Papyrus and Aliza are trying to find the good in things and believe that they are a family and the monsters will spare her, but Sans and Flowey are completely challenging that idea by bringing up examples and how rough the monsters really are. Those four are split into the harsh side and the hopeful side, and I'm rooting for the hopeful side. I also enjoy Papyrus challenging Sans on his morality and asking maybe killing Toriel is the morally right thing to do. And notice how Sans didn't have the right answer. Papyrus calls out the moral hypocrisy that Sans and Toriel are facing, but let's not pretend that he's always correct. Trying to tell Undyne the truth and going there to speak with her is a horrible idea, since she'd probably kill Papyrus. Chapter 2 begins and we see Snowdon Town. We hear steps in the forest and Aliza is running away. Lies. You've been fed nothing but lies since the very beginning. It's time to get out for good. As Aliza is running, she quickly stops as she saw something. She saw the two guards and she almost ran into them. The two guards say, what is taking so long? Undyne is getting impatient. Sorry sir, there's no sign of her here. We've searched the entire village but nobody is telling us anything. The general guard asks, is she even real? A skeleton's daughter. Sans' daughter. The guards say, come on, it's just a joke. Since when has Sans ever been straight with us? Only a moron will believe a word he says. The general guard says the queen believes it. But I'll tell her you both believe she's been taken for a fool. Remind me of your names? As the general said that, the two royal guards are startled, they're frightened. And the general guard says, I see. I don't believe either of you halfwits fully understand exactly what's at stake here. Making our queen wait for what she wants is a very serious matter. Deliver the girl to Undyne, or we will be forced to raid this town, and if that happens, you'll both be at the front of the line. Are we done speaking like fools? The two royal guards look at each other and they seem finished. You have 2 hours left, soldiers. Aliza thinks to herself, 2 hours? And the royal guards say, yes sir. Aliza peeks through the woods and she sees that there's no sign of the soldiers anymore, just a deep dark cave. This is her last chance and she enters the cave. We're introduced to a new character and we'll just call him the general of the royal guards, and general for short. He's shown as this mean powerhouse, the strongest out of all the royal guards, the meanest of them all. This is clearly indicated by the red eyes, since the red represents rage, anger, bloodlust and chaos. He's seen seen talking down on the two guards that are already menacing and dangerous enough, and my guess is that this general will be playing a big part into the story if more comics are released at the time of editing this video. This is where we have to analyze the game, and yes, the game is canon, so we'll get into that. The game is a click and go type of game. It's very similar to Frambo. And yes, I'm still making the Frambo comparison. And yes, I am planning on making a Frambo video. The game is short and it only takes around 20 to 30 minutes to beat, if you're not a fucking idiot like me. I seriously spent hours trying to figure out one of the puzzles and I just couldn't finish it.
Yeah, alright, bro. Fucking bollocks.
Please kill me. The game starts with Aliza being given two choices. Either enter the cave that leads to the waterfall or go back. There's only one option you can really choose, and that's to enter the cave. If you click on going back in the forest, it just doesn't let you. Once you enter the cave, you're given two options, going either right or left, and that is the main mechanic that the player can go and progress to the story. If you go to the left, you can meet the white version of the monster kid and the clam, aka the disciples of Gasta, or whatever the fuck we call them. Yeah, I don't know, just go with it. You're given the choice to sit down with the two, and if you choose to sit with them, this dialogue appears.
What would you do if giving up your existence saved everyone you love? I'd fight for my fucking life, mate.
This is a reference to both Aliza and Sans. Sans was given a choice to help the monsters and get their power back and live normally, but he refused to die. This would be interpreted as an act of selflessness, but some would argue it's justified. Aliza is also giving the same moral dilemma, the same self-sacrifice issue. Would she die for the sake of monsters finally being able to live past the barrier at the consequence of Aliza's death and many other people's death? You're given the option. If you click on I would fight for my life, this happens.
Okay. Absolute cinema.
And if you click self-sacrifice, this happens. This might be a foreshadow of Aliza's death and the self-sacrifice. Maybe after a long hard fight with Undyne and the gods, she might self-sacrifice herself just to prove that humans can truly be kind and they're worth a change. After you're done speaking with the Caucasian monster kid, you can click on the clam head and he just fucking dies. He just randomly closes his mouth.
Oh, poor fucker died.
You can interact with the painting and it's a hidden pattern. I still have no clue what this does after I finish the game, and I don't care what it does. You then exit the area and go to the right direction, and you come across the guy that takes you across the map, the Tralala boat guy, but something's wrong with him.
Why not? Why not? Let's fucking visit this brother right here. We just fucking asked.
Yeah, so what you're supposed to do is you're supposed to walk past them, because if you interact with them, you just fucking die for some reason. If you go to the right, you encounter a word puzzle and they become more creepy as you keep going forward, until you come across a goo-like lake, the lake of misery and despair. The thing probably is Onion Sun or whatever the fucking squid guy is called. If you go to the left, you're given the option to head up the stairs or just keep going to the left side. If you go upstairs, you meet Sans and you can interact with them. And you have to be very careful with what you do here, because I restarted my game 3 times because Sans kept fucking killing me. You're given the options talk, check, and item. I mean, also leave, but that's not really a choice. If you check Sans, nothing really happens and he just says why he's still here. If you click item, nothing happens, and if you talk, this happens.
You fucking what? Nah, fake ass fuck. Wow.
There's also a different outcome where if you speak to Sans and Sans says, do you value your life? And Aliza just says the same thing back and he just leaves Sans speechless. Go get her, queen. Sans then tasks Aliza to find a missing item. You go back downstairs and you head left. There's a window that you can close and open it, and if you leave it open, you die. Once you close it and you go past it, you then enter the worst part of the game that my fucking dumbass kept dying over and over.
And then left. I'm not playing this game.
You walk to the long grass and you hope to find Sans's missing item. If you mess up and click the wrong direction, this happens.
You're right, lads. Gonna fucking help.
Yes, I died to this many times. I generally spent a lot of time stuck on this level to the point where I had to literally use Daddy Google. What you have to do is you have to basically click on the paths that do not have the spikes. How the fuck was I supposed to know that? No idea. Once you click on the right paths, you find Monster Kid with a big bone. This might be the human arm that Sans was seen with in the basement. The reason why I say that is because it's just a really big bone. That's literally fucking it, bro. Anyways, if you click the Monster Kid, he falls under zero pressure, running away like the average penny pocket main running away from the police. You bring the item back to Sans and he says thanks and fucks off. You enter the bunker and it gives you another puzzle. Yep, Google time. Once you finish the puzzle, you go to the oil lake and it's cleared. The onion guy comes up to you and thanks Aliza for cleaning the waters and he promised not to kill her. That's how the game ends, and honestly, it's not that bad. The only issue I have is that the fucking puzzles with the colors are absolute bollocks. No one could fucking figure out. Other than that, the game is good. Better than Black Ops 6. The chapter begins with a massive squid guy saying, thanks for diverting the water back to my home, little girl. I never thought I would be saved by a living human down here. But this all will turn into a big bloodbath once the queen finds out what you've done. She promised me the entire ocean if I deliver one more human soul, but I've lost enough friends. We have to hurry though. If Undyne finds you, we're both dead meat. Hop on my back. I know a shortcut straight out of here. Aliza thinks to herself, well, you've only just met him. Aliza has no idea how the rules of resetting works. Any violent encounter with these monsters would possibly be the end of her actual life. Better to stay on their good side. Aliza's new friend cheerfully guides her both through the maze of the water tunnels, and she could never dream of navigating this alone. The tentacle monster tells Aliza's of many stories that took place here. Stories of how things were and how bitter politics have taken over. It becomes clear to you how long this monster kept secrets to herself and how she's happy to divulge. But what isn't clear to Aliza is the destination. So by the time she gets there, she is undoubtedly surprised. Here we are, my secret garbage pile. No, this can't be right. Aliza can't do this. Aliza is discouraged and she doesn't have the balls to climb up that disgusting filth. She sees something poking from the garbage pile. It can't be. The hand pokes out from the garbage pile and Aliza says, oh, what luck. You found one of your own. And the next panel is a human stuck in the massive pile of rubbish. Welcome to Manchester. The human dies and Aliza thinks to herself, no, I've reached the end. This place. It's as awful as putrid when you first fell down here. Is this it? All your efforts, all your compassion has earned you this only way out of this hellhole? But she refused. But Aliza is sobbing and she refused to leave the place. Onion Sun says, hey little girl, look at me. Aliza turns to the tentacle monster and the tentacle monster says, you will break the barrier. You will save us all. I can see it. The end of chapter 3. The tentacle monster makes Aliza get on the tentacle and he puts her up really high, making her skip all past the garbage. Chapter 4 begins with Aliza thinking, like it or not, you've swiftly lifted up in the air and uncomfortably close to the exit. As she gets close to the exit, she looks down and she realizes that she appreciates the friend's favor, considering the alternative. But still, something is wrong. Aliza looks up and she sees the two royal guards. A mysterious voice says, out of my way, you clowns. I've got trash to dump. The panel begins with the two royal guards saying, the queen has made the situation very clear. All areas are on lockdown until the girl is found. Every exit is closed, even the trash chutes. So just move on. We find out that it's Mettaton that was the mysterious figure, and Mettaton says, idiots, I'm here to dispose trash, not escape through it, so just cut me a break. The royal guards reject her. Mettaton says fine, and he dumps the trash on them. Now, there's no chapters anymore. That's the end. So yeah, I really don't think there's gonna be any more chapters when I'm finished editing.
She knows my tunes. I need me a skin, I can't fit in the ride. They might have to slide if I open